All right, so today we're going really deep into two stories, where like belief systems really like went head to head.
Yeah.
It's Boniface and that whole Donar's Oak thing, and then there's Elijah and the showdown with the priests of Baal.
hmm
And I mean, from what we've got here, it looks like we're really trying to figure out like what these stories say about how faith, asserts itself.
Absolutely. And I think what we've got here is, accounts of those kind of moments where one set of beliefs is just totally challenging another one.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to look at how they went about it, the different strategies and what they were really trying to do.
Okay, so Boniface and Donar's Oak.
Yeah.
From the text, it seems like the big moment is when a Boniface takes an axe to this oak tree,
hmm
which was like super important to those Germanic tribes.
Right.
But it wasn't just about like chopping down a tree, right?
No, not at all. I mean, this oak was like a huge symbol in their pagan beliefs, like
Mm.
deeply connected to their god, who's often connected with thunder. So when Boniface chops it down, he's like directly challenging the power of their gods.
Right.
The act itself is like a statement.
Like a big screw you guys kind of thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And the sources make a big deal about the wind, in this whole event.
Yeah.
Seems pretty important to the whole story.
It is. The story talks about this huge gust of wind that helped bring down the oak after Boniface started chopping.
Hmm.
And of course, Boniface and his followers, they see this as like a sign from God,
Yeah.
a sign that the Christian God was stronger than the pagan gods that the oak represented.
So it's like a super direct, almost like theatrical kind of challenge,
hmm
using this physical act, and then they're all like, oh, God did that.
Yeah, they interpret it through that lens
Right.
of divine intervention.
Okay, so now let's switch gears to Elijah and the priests of Baal.
Okay.
This feels like a totally different way of going about the same kind of challenge.
Yeah, this time, instead of destroying something sacred, Elijah goes for this public showdown to prove God's power right there in front of everyone.
Right.
So you got two altar sacrifices all laid out,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to see which God sends fire to burn up the offering.
Talk about a tense moment.
Oh, yeah.
And the text really like goes into detail about those Baal priests.
It does. They're calling on their God forever, and nothing's happening.
Backward.
And then Elijah's over there, like, making fun of them.
Really?
Yeah, he's, like, saying maybe Baal's asleep or, like, off on a trip or something.
Wow.
It's like he's trying to show everyone how weak their God is.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just like a power struggle, it's
Right.
like psychological warfare too.
Exactly.
And then Elijah takes his turn.
Yeah, and this time, boom, fire comes down, burns everything up.
Whoa.
The sacrifice, the wood, even the stones of the altar and the water around it.
So dramatic.
Definitely, yeah, everyone's seeing this and they're like, okay, this is for real.
Yeah.
No question.
But the thing is, the end of Elijah's story is pretty intense,
Yeah,
especially compared to what happened with Boniface.
right. Elijah straight up orders the execution of all those Baal priests.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, you don't see that kind of violence after Boniface tracks down the tree.
Oh, not at all.
So yeah, big difference there.
Okay, so we've got these two stories, and there are some obvious similarities, right? Like,
Yeah.
they both directly challenge those old pagan beliefs.
Right.
And they both want to show everyone how powerful their God is.
Yeah, with the wind for Boniface and the fire for Elijah.
Right. And they both do it out in the open for everyone to see.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, they both kind of put down the other beliefs.
Exactly. But they do it in totally different ways.
Yeah.
Boniface does this physical thing, and then everyone's like, oh, it must be God.
Right.
And Elijah goes for this head-to-head power struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole violence thing with Elijah, which is a big difference.
Oh, and even like the way God shows up is different.
Totally. One's wind and the other's fire.
Yeah. That's a cool contrast. So you listening out there, you brought these two stories to us separated by so much time and place.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating is how they both show how strongly people can believe in something.
Right.
Like it makes you think about what belief really is and how these challenges play out.
It really does. And it makes you think about why these stories still have so much power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They both show one faith totally winning over another one.
Right.
It's a decisive moment where power is on full display.
So to wrap it up, we've looked at these two events.
Right.
Boniface doing his thing with the tree and Elijah with his dramatic contest.
Mm-hmm.
And they both show this clash between different beliefs and how people try to prove that their God is the real deal.
Yeah, they both show how people try to prove their God is the real deal.
Yeah.
But they use different methods and the results are different too.
Exactly. And it leaves us with some things to think about.
It does. Like, why do these old stories about faiths and challenges to it?
Mm-hmm.
Why do they still resonate with us today?
Yeah.
you know? And what would be some modern-day examples of these really deep clashes of belief, and what big questions do they raise?
Yeah, really makes you think.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for diving deep with us.
of course.
See you on the next one.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
Bye.